Kristen the science girl, Kristen the science girl. Kristen the science girl.
Science rules.
Kristen the science girl.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Kristen the science girl. Kristen the science girl. Hello and welcome to Kristen the Science Girl. And I'm Kristen the Science Girl. On today's show we will be talking about water. Water is all around us. We use it every day. Hydrate ourselves. Wash our hands. Water the plants. And to throw at your neighbors. But what do you really know about water? Water has its own properties. Cohesion, adhesion, capillary action, surface tension, holds heat to regulate temperature, and it's less dense as a solid. One of these properties is how water is less dense as a solid. We are going to come back later in the show to find out what happens to this jar if we put it in the freezer. We'll first start at cohesion and adhesion. Cohesion is the attraction between like molecules, and adhesion is the attraction between unlike molecules. You see, water molecules have a positive end and a negative end. This means that they attract together or repel apart. This is what gives water cohesion and adhesion. An example of this is when water bulges over a glass. The molecules are trying to stick together. This brings us to capillary action, which is a type of adhesion. Water is very sticky. In a plant, the tissue sucks up the water. This is an example of capillary action, otherwise known as adhesion. How can you collect them all and throw them in my face? But you always find a way to keep me right here waiting. You always find the words to say to keep me right here. We're going to swing our way back to water being less dense as a solid. I took out the jar that I put in the freezer earlier, and now, as you can see or might not see, the water in this jar actually expanded, making the bottom of the jar actually crack into multiple pieces. This is dangerous stuff here. Dangerous! Another way to explain this is by putting solid water into liquid water. As you can see, the solid is floating at the surface of the water. This is because the water is actually denser than the solid. Another property is that water holds heat to regulate its temperature. An example of this would be the temperature of the pot to the temperature of the water inside. The water is around 150 degrees, where the pan is about 300 degrees. It takes more energy to raise the temperature of water compared to other solvents because the hydrogen bonds hold the water molecules together. The last property is high surface tension. High surface tension has to do with cohesion. Water molecules on top of the water are not connected with other molecules.
Particle man, doing the things.
All the molecules that it could connect to on all sides, so therefore the ones that they are connected to are stronger.
What's he like? It's not important. Particle man, is he a dog?
Than the rest of the water, and that makes a film on top which is stronger than the rest of the water, so it's actually harder to go on top of the surface than to be in the surface and move.
water, does he get wet? Or does the water get him instead? Nobody knows.
Well, that's all time we have for this show today. Tune in next week to go back in time and see dinosaurs. Just remember, water's all around us, and if it wasn't there, we wouldn't be living. And you couldn't throw it at your neighbors.
Kristen, the science girl.